There we go.
Woo!
Only took a couple times, right?
Saving America one mind at a time. This is Smith Radio. And now, your hosts, Carrie and Brian Smith.
Yes, sir. Forgive my voice cracking a little bit, but the adrenaline and the emotion is still high. I was on deck about to hit batting practice on the third base side of home plate, and I hear a loud bam. And I look around, and behind third base in the third base dugout, which is cinder block, I see a rifle. And I see a little bit of a body, and then I hear another blam, and I realize that there's an active shooter. At the same time, I hear Steve Scalise over near second base scream. He was shot. He's our majority whip. You can imagine all the people in the field scatter. I run around to the first base side of home plate, and we have a batting cage that's got plastic wrapped around it to stop foul balls, and hide behind the plastic. Heard a break in the gunfire and decided to take a chance. Ran from home plate to the first base dugout. There were a number of congressmen and congressional staffers who help us lying on the ground. One of them was wounded. Myself and another congressman, I don't remember who, applied a tourniquet to try to slow down the bleeding. And then, boom, about 5 feet from my head, I hear another shot. I did not know if it was a second shooter until I saw that it was one of our security detail, and he was ordering us to stay down. Another security detail person was closer to home plate, and there must have been 50 to 100 shots fired. The shooter starts coming around home plate towards we are, outside the fence line, and my understanding is that's where our security detail, maybe some of the ones who were wounded, still defending us, took him down. Once we got the all clear that the shooter was down, we ran out to second base for Steve Scalise. He had crawled into the outfield with leaving a trail of blood. I put pressure on his wound in his hip, and Brad Winstrip, congressman from Ohio, Cincinnati, fortunately he's a physician, he started doing what you need to do to try to minimize the blood loss.
Good evening, everybody. This is Smith Radio. This is Brian Smith and
Carrie Smith,
giving you all the late-breaking details of today. This is a special edition. We normally go live Sunday evenings, 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern. It is very rare that we go during the week because we have regular jobs to pay the bills. If you would like to help us and support us, please visit our Patreon account, .com/Smith Radio. Much appreciated. And
make sure you get that spelling right. It's SMYTHRADIO, and it should pop right up.
And if we get that going, we'll be live 5 days a week for y'all. And it's very sad. Obviously, everybody knows, not everybody knows the details, but everybody has probably heard of the incident that went down early this morning. The title of the show, Resistance Fires First Shot.
Yeah, and that's the thing. One thing I wanted to point out is that, crazy news happens all week for, years now, right? And we generally just compile it and then we present it on Sunday. And some things we miss. Sometimes by the time Sunday rolls around, we have it consolidated down to the biggest news of the week.
Well, we go for 3 hours.
Right.
On everything.
But the reason I wanted to do this special one is because we have been talking about this Civil War for many, many months. I really, truly believe that unless cooler heads prevail, we are on a path that leads to a very, very, very violent conclusion. And the bloodiest event in all of American history was the first Civil War. And, people just don't realize what it can mean. But, basically, I guess let's walk through what happened today. So there is a baseball game that's a fundraiser. It hasn't happened yet, but it's between it's Congress members. They actually play in the game.
Right, between Democrats and Republicans.
Yes. So one side's all Democrats, the other side's all Republicans. Apparently there's 35 people practicing on this Republican side is what I saw reported. And I'm sure that at some point during the week, the Democrats get together and they do practices. And then at some point, I don't know the exact date, but I have heard the report is that the game is going to go on because there's this whole thing, we're not going to let them scare us. We're not going to let the violence, ruin this thing. We're going to, the game must go on. So they're going to have the game. And that's fine.
Live life.
Right.
Continue to live life.
Right, that's fine. So they're at this practice this morning, and the shooting happened. There was a shooting at this game, and it happened at like 7-something, before 8 o'clock. And reports were that the practice was pretty much over. There were a couple of people that were not even there because they wanted to leave early to beat traffic.
So wow. So that's why it was down to about 25 to 30 folks.
Right. And as a matter of fact, when they heard that there was a shooting and they realized it was their practice that got shot up, I think that they immediately decided to call the police and try to do a report. But
somebody called 911. They said that the local police showed up within 3 minutes. However, luckily, Scalise, Representative Steve Scalise, was there, and because he's the third-ranking Republican, he has detail,
right?
Which is two Capitol police officers, special officers, and the joke amongst them is that he needs it because he's so awful in the infield. Okay. But it's a joke. I was listening to Hannity earlier, and one of the other representatives were talking about it, and it was so interesting how he was talking about. It was amazing how he came on and he actually was able to speak about it because he was there when it went down, and that's who you heard earlier at the beginning of the show. Mo Brooks, representative of Alabama, Republican, talking about his friend Scalise, shot in the hip, lying at second base, trying to climb his way. His legs didn't work. He was moving his hands and climbing.
And as of right now, I'd heard that he's now in critical condition.
Right.
Earlier, he had been reported as stable condition.
Right. Trump even, whether he tweeted out or he said it in his announcement this afternoon that he was in stable condition. That is not true. And according to Hannity, Scalise has lost so much blood, and they can't stop the bleeding. They're using intravenous fluids and replacing blood, and it's just what a nightmare.
Yeah, definitely have your prayers. Have him in your prayers for sure.
Mo rips his belt off, makes a tourniquet. The other Capitol Hill special
Capitol Police
duty. What do they call? What's the word? Special agent, Capitol Hill special agent David Bailey and Crystal Griner were there.
I think they both got shot.
Yeah, both of them. David Bailey, Mo Brooks climbs his way, gets around. You heard him, gets around to the concrete back behind the dugout, and David Bailey uses him to fire at the shooter over him. While David Bailey is hit, he runs to Scalise on the ground, attempting to do his job because that's what he was there to do, is to protect him.
Right.
So we talk about a hero.
So let's walk through the chronology. No, we needed to do a summary. Yeah. So let's walk through what happened. So early in the morning, there's this practice, all Republicans, and maybe, don't know, but possibly same field is used for practice for Democrats. Not sure. But evidence may suggest that. We'll have to find out. We may find out otherwise. But some random guy that wasn't a part of the family, which, by the way, there were some family members there. I think somebody said that there were children there. Yeah. And, summer break has already started. I think it would be probably common for kids to attend something like this, especially young kids, because if your dad has to go to a practice and school's not in session, you would probably just go with them if you're a young child and can't be left at home, unless you have like a nanny or something like that, or maybe you can call the nanny off for the day and just take them to practice with you. So they do the practice. It's almost over, and somebody was there that struck one of the I guess Mo.
Yeah, No, Mo Brooks wasn't shot.
Somebody talked to the shooter.
Oh, yeah, well, he didn't have his gun on him. He looked like you're talking about before
the shooting, yeah.
Right, before he shooting, apparently he was
discussing.
He stashed his weapon somewhere else.
Or if he showed up in a vehicle, it was still in the vehicle. But bottom line is it was not on his persons. At least that's what I could surmise, because congressmen were talking to this guy, and they found it a little odd, is the quote that I read. A little odd. I wouldn't think it was any more than just a little odd. I mean, strangers are in the public, right?
Right.
I mean, that happens. When you go out in public, you're going to see strangers. And sometimes they're going to be curiously or oddly curious, which in this case the guy was, and asked one of the congressmen if this was the Democrats or the Republicans. They didn't say how long this discussion went on, because when you hear that, it sounds a little bit menacing, or could be menacing. I guess in hindsight, it looks very menacing.
Right.
But I don't know, the conversation could have been going on for a while, and he could have been saying, hey, what are you guys doing? Who are you guys? Oh, you guys are with Congress? Oh, okay. What are you guys doing? Oh, we're practicing for, this could have been a long conversation. But the guy was there with a weapon, and we're not sure if he showed up planning on killing as many Republicans as possible until we find out later on his Facebook page. So here's a guy having a conversation with the congressman early in the morning, really early. He's there, and he asked them, is this the Republicans or is this the Democrats? Right. So I'm assuming that he's not 100% sure, but when he says they're the Republicans, he goes off, finds his rifle, comes back, and starts shooting as many of them as possible, starting with Scalise. They said Scalise was the first one that got hit. He was like in the shortstop position or maybe second base position. He was somewhere out there near second base. So he's either on the second base or shortstop position.
Yeah, he was on second. But yeah, he was laying there on second base, bleeding from a hip wound. He was shot in the hip.
Right, and they say he was the first one hit, or at least that's what they think. And that's the middle of the field. I don't think you could get any further away from the edge of the field than second base or shortstop. You're way out there in the middle by second base. It's like the middle of the field.
Right.
I guess maybe center field could be out there if you're not close to the fence line. If you're kind of in more towards the infield, center field could be out there too. But definitely second base or shortstop is pretty far in there. And the guy had a rifle. That's what all of the congressmen are saying. It was a rifle. It wasn't a handgun. Capitol Police had handguns, just like you would imagine a cop would have, like a side holstered, Glock, whatever they had. 9mm and possibly a 45. I think a lot of them have 9mm. At least when I was in the military, military police
is very common, yeah.
Yeah, the military police had 9mm, so I'm assuming that's kind of maybe a standard issue. But first guy shot was Scalise, and several other people were hit. The cops were both hit, the two Capitol Police.
Yeah, Bailey and I don't have Griner, Girner, Griner.
Okay.
Yeah, Bailey and Griner.
Okay, those were the two Capitol Police.
Correct.
And they are heroes because they kept on, not only did they keep on fighting, but then they tended to the wounded afterwards, and they were hit. They were shot and bleeding pretty bad. And several other congressmen got wounded. I'm not sure exactly how many, but that's neither here nor there. Here's what I wanted to talk about. This is going to drive the conspiracy theorist wild. And I want to talk... Whoa! Got a random guitar guy in here.
That's
who's that?
That's Twitter, man.
Audio from. Can we
that's
turn
Twitter?
Can we turn that off?
I don't know. It's off.
All right, thank you.
Twitter. Thank you, Twitter.
You could actually unplug the thing in the back of your computer.
But then it would unplug everything.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
What? I thought you had a.
I'm the only one.
Okay. All right.
Conspiracy theorist.
Yes. So this
hacking our computers now.
That's right. They're trying to get us to stop it. No, it's the deep state. The deep state's trying to get us to stop this. So here's the problem. All right. So the guy my initial reaction is, oh, well, if they told him that they were Democrats and not Republicans, then he would have had to come back another time.
Right. If they say, oh, yeah, these are all Democrats. Why? What's up?
Yeah, he would have been like, oh, well, hey, do you know when the Republicans are practicing?
When they're still, yeah. When's that?
Yeah, is that tomorrow or is that later on today, maybe?
Yeah.
Can you let me know?
Because I'm interested in watching them.
I want to see those guys.
I want to see them up close.
So first and foremost, this sounds like a very well planned out assassination attempt. And by the way, have you seen the shooter? His name's James Hodgkinson. He's not just some young guy like the Gabby.
Gabby Giffords.
Gabby Giffords. I was thinking Kathy Lee Gifford. Yeah. No, not her. No, she. No. When Gabby Gifford was when she was shot in the head, she survived. The guy was kind of young.
Yeah.
He's kind of young. So I was kind of surprised to see this guy look like he was in his late 50s, maybe, possibly even pushing
60. I think they said 66.
66.
Yeah, he's in 60s.
And he looks like he actually looks pretty healthy for a 66-year-old, but it's surprising, kind of old, and it kind of blows the theory that all old people wise up and become Republicans. So turns out this guy has a Facebook page. And on his Facebook page, he is all about taxing the rich, all the socialist, communist talking points. In fact, somebody said that his Facebook page reads like a talking points memo for CNN.
Somebody called in today somebody emailed Rush, and Rush said this, so it's not Rush's idea, but it was one of his listeners. They said that his Facebook page reminds him of a CNN roundtable discussion of 10 people.
Right, okay. Yeah.
I'm like, wow, what a visual. That's because it is all day, all fake news, all hate, all anger, all everything. Look at the numbers. 90% negative every day, all day against Trump.
Right. Well, okay, so the guy's 66. The guy's probably able to figure a lot of things out that young people are not able to do. And he was able to wake his butt up at the butt crack of dawn to make it to this practice, make sure that it was the Republicans, make sure he's got the right guys, and then proceed to shoot him up. Now, here's where the really oddball conspiracy stuff comes into play. And this is coming from me. This is an exclusive from Smith Radio. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a very well-trained rifleman in the Marine Corps, okay? I was a 2-time rifle expert.
I got the ribbon once.
I got the medal. And here's the thing. There's 3 different levels of qualification in the Marine Corps for marksmanship. I got the highest one twice. I would have had more awards, but they didn't make me take it the following year because I did so well the first time. And then when I repeated that and became rifle expert the second time, they didn't make me take it again. They're like, this guy's good enough. And that was it. They didn't waste their time or to have me qual again. When
I qualified, there was you had to hit at least 39 out of 40 or 38 out of 40 for expert.
Okay.
And I did just that.
Oh, okay.
And when I got the sheet back,
I think we talked about this story before. What happened to the sheet?
There was way more.
It was like 65
shots.
Yes.
So the guy next to me was shooting at my target.
Would you get credit for it?
Yes, I got the ribbon.
Oh, that's so awesome. Man, you're so good. You shot it more times than you had bullets.
Well, that's the Air Force for you.
Oh, my goodness. That's hilarious. I guess he didn't get a very good ribbon, huh?
Nope.
Okay. So here's the thing. Not only that, and I had I've never been shot at until, oh, nice. Until I got a good idea, and I think everybody should do this. Go paintball gun fighting. Go out and do the paintball thing. And I learned a valuable lesson that I never learned in the Marine Corps because I did not serve in combat. I did not get fired upon or anything like that. but I learned a valuable lesson in paintball gun fighting, and that is that if you're exposed, you're hit. Period.
Yes.
You have to be completely covered or else you're going to be hit, because it's not that hard. I shot, targets from 200, 300, and 500 meters away. And I had to really try hard to make sure that everything was perfect so that I could hit the target and get rifle expert. If you're at a close enough range and have presumably unlimited, that's another thing about the rifle range. You have a very specific number of shots. In the rapid fire, you have 10 rounds. In the slow fire, you have 5 rounds. You have to hit or else you're going to be really hurting on your qualifications. So you don't just fire and fire and fire and be like, oh, okay, I found my target. Paintballing, though, you don't have to worry about whether you hit or not. You just start firing. And from a pretty good distance away, you're going to hit your target unless your gun jams or, something happens with the weapon or something like that. With a rifle, at 200 yards, it was a pretty easy 200 yards. It's 100 yards for a football field.
Right.
200 yards is 2 football fields. It really wasn't that hard. And this was with an M16, which has about the standard length barrel for just about any rifle. Obviously, the round is the high power round. But here's my point. Knowing what I've learned from becoming a rifle expert and knowing what I've learned from getting shot at and shooting at people on the paintball fields, I cannot believe that nobody was killed except for him. And he was up against handguns. It's unbelievable.
Some of the reports say anywhere from 50 to 100 plus rounds were discharged.
And this went on for 10 minutes.
Yes.
10 minutes.
10 solid minutes. And dude
seemed like an eternity.
Dude hit 5 people.
He hit 5 people. None of them were fatal. Cross your fingers about Scalia.
God bless. Say a prayer tonight for Steve Scalise.
Scalia.
No, not
Scalise.
Scalise.
I'm sorry, Scalise. Yeah, Scalise. He went from stable. They said he seemed fine, but he was bleeding a lot. And he showed up at the hospital with in stable condition, is what they said.
Right.
Then it was upgraded to critical
because the doctors couldn't stop the bleeding.
And I'm going to tell you something right now. God forbids that he doesn't make it through this. And the conspiracy theories, they're already out now. They're saying Seth Rich showed up at the hospital conscious. Yeah. So they're already ready. So all I got to say is nothing better happened to Scalise. He better come through this or else it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly with the conspiracy theories. But think about it. We walk through this mostly. The guy shows up early in the morning. He verifies that these were the Republicans. He's supposedly, according to Mike Cernovich, a Bernie supporter, which, I'm assuming based on his support of socialism and all that kind of stuff, seems like it.
Here's how big of a nut job this guy was. Who do you think was his favorite person and should have been the Democrat nominee for president?
I would assume Bernie.
If it wasn't Bernie, his favorite other than Bernie wished that Richard Maddow would run.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, no.
He wanted Rachel Maddow to run for president.
Wow. So
fake news of all fake news. She's the biggest absolute liar and literally stokes the flames of hate and anger that
she's not quite as bad as Keith Olbermann, though. Keith Olbermann.
He isn't on TV anymore. He's in his mom's basement.
That's true. He's joining all the
Dude, I need to jump over to Keith Olbermann and see what he's posting up on Twitter right now.
Well, you probably have some Twitter things. So before we get into that, so the guy shows up early in the morning, 7 in the morning. He verifies that it's Republicans. His Facebook page says he wants to kill as many Republicans as possible because he thinks that that's going to make America better because he wants a socialist government. I have no idea. My computer's locked up. So he goes and tries to do it. Why do you think he did such a piss poor job?
I don't know.
I can't believe it. I know a lot of people out there listening right now would have no idea how I would even come up with. I'm telling you, from my training on the rifle range, being a rifle expert, and I know what you're probably thinking. Well, this guy probably wasn't a rifle expert. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's like I'll give you an analogy. If you can water a bush in your yard, in your landscape, from 15 feet away,
right,
you can hit somebody at 50 yards.
It's not hard.
50 yards.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
Multiple times. When with the paintball, obviously the ranges are a lot shorter. But if I could hit you once, you're probably getting hit about 5 times before you scream and say stop. Just not because I'm trying to hit you that many times. It's because I get a little trigger happy because I might miss the first 4.
Ask your sister at point blank range. I
know. Well, I thought I was going to miss her the first 4.
You were 4 feet from her.
That's true. But
dude, she showed me her body. Dude, she was lit.
Actually, I may have only been 3 feet away.
Dude, she was so lit up.
Yeah,
weeks later, she's like, "Yeah, I got a cracked rib."
Oh, it was in her butt or something, wasn't it? Oh no, it was in her side.
All up her side and her back.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because you want to shoot center mass.
When there's no meat, there's no meat there.
Well, that's her fault.
If somebody did tell her, eat cheeseburger.
Throw a burger down her throat.
Throw it.
So, I find it unbelievably odd that this guy was all prepared, all ready to go. He had his rifle. He had his rounds ready. He claims he wants to kill as many as possible. That's what his Facebook page says. But he failed miserably. And I am shocked by that. And it makes me wonder, why would that have happened? Could he have been that bad of a shot? I mean, a rifle is a rifle. I mean, it's like shooting a hose from, as long as it's not an excessive distance.
Right.
They said he was on the side of the field.
Yeah, he was right there walking up third baseline.
How could he miss people?
Well, the 2 other senators said that they were hiding behind plastic and the backstop, which is just a fence.
Yeah.
And they were laying down, and they said, we better run and take our chances versus lay here.
Right.
Afterwards, he recounted, if we'd have laid there, he would have just shot us point blank because he kept walking up.
Right. And I'm perplexed. Either A, he wasn't really trying to kill anybody, which would explain why there's so many leg wounds. You ever notice that? The hip wound.
Yeah, hip
He was
wound.
probably like, oops, I shot a little too high there. Sounds like he was just shooting. This sounds like suicide by cop almost.
Ooh, borderline.
It's either suicide by cop or, I'm going to be honest with you, if it was a full-blown assassination attempt at Steve Scalise alone, just him,
right,
which would make sense because he's the only one that has a critical wound, right?
Correct.
Why did he only shoot him once? If it was an assassination attempt, like let's say George Soros said, look, I'll give you $200,000. I'll give you $1 million. Give me $1 million, you got to take out Scalise, which is very, very plausible with George Soros. From that point, make sure the job's done. I mean, I don't know what the hell this guy was doing.
I mean, I didn't take it that far. I didn't think that part of it out.
I'm thinking conspiracy.
Oh.
I'm thinking, was there an order to just take out Scalise and the rest of the shots just use it to try to get away? Don't kill anybody else. How could a guy with a high-powered rifle, I'm assuming it wasn't a .22. In fact, there may have even been a report of what kind of
if 100 rounds were fired, he probably had. Well, first off, he had multiple clips, and for those of you out there that run into Nancy Pelosi, let her know that a clip is reusable and you just stuff more bullets in it.
Yeah, she didn't seem to know that when that was.
We'll ban all clips and they can't fire anything.
So there's going to be people that are saying, "Oh, there's this attempt at gun control. This was a false flag to get gun control." There's going to be that kind of conspiracy theory rolling around there.
Speaking about that,
they've already come out, right?
Yeah, that knucklehead came out. What was it? Man,
you didn't keep the window open? Because I was going to say, if you did.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Okay.
This is just absolute insanity.
This guy should be ashamed of himself. Politicizing
this may or may not be it, but this has something to do with it.
Yeah.
That is not it.
We already played that. But yeah, so there's already legislators out there politicizing this and trying to make it about gun control. If you check Twitter, there's also people there calling for gun control. You need to control the guns. If we would get the guns off the street, this stuff wouldn't happen.
Right.
Not really. It'd just go to stabbings.
When you heard, I don't know if you have or not, but Rand Paul came out and said, obviously, no, this is not any. If there were more guns there, this would have never have happened. And thank God for the special agents that were there.
Right.
Because this would have been a bloodbath.
Yeah, I mean, that. Okay, so here's my theory. Let's say there's no wild conspiracy theory. This guy just wanted to actually kill. I'm thinking he shot Scalia and got return fire from Capitol Police. And now all of a sudden your accuracies can be very, very limited. Because you're worried
about you're worried about being fired upon.
Yeah, so you have to take cover yourself. So that probably the return fire certainly saved him, and I think they kind of talk about that. They talk about how if those cops weren't there to do their duty and protect them, that it would have just they could have walked up on everybody, which sounds absolutely to be the case. Please do not do what they did at Pulse nightclub, which is just hide and freeze and just...
No, don't.
That's why it was such a bloodbath. You have to, when faced with an ambush, you turn towards the ambush.
Terry McAuliffe, Governor Terry... Ooh, I caught it just in time. Don't want that commercial. Terry McAuliffe, who is a flaming liberal...
In general, do you think anything more needs to do to protect politicians?
Well, let me say this. I think we need to do more to protect all of our citizens. I have long advocated... this is not what today is about, but there are too many guns on the street.
Oh.
We lose 93 million Americans a day.
What?
Wait.
Gun violence. I mean, I've long talked about this. Background check, shutting down gun show loopholes. That's not for today's discussion.
93 million a day, we would be wiped out in a week. The entire country.
A couple days, yeah.
Right.
4 days.
Just about politicians. We worry about this every day for all of our citizens.
If it's not the day for it, why are you bringing it up? People are going to criticize that you're bringing up gun control.
This is the Virginia governor.
I'm talk about this every single day. This is a very serious issue. I just came with Colonel Flaherty recently. We just buried one of our great state troopers, a special agent, with a wife and 3 young children, needless, senseless.
What's his name?
So we've got to look at this. But I'm not going to get anywhere near the investigation. The FBI is leading this. But this, obviously, with 93 million people a day, it's just something...
just check. 93 million is a big number. Did you mean to say 93 million? That's a big number. Are you sure about
93
that?
million, 93 individuals a day.
93 individuals
a day.
How confident are you that...
Hey, can I borrow $93 million? No, I meant $93.
Oh, because that's an awful lot of money.
No, $93, not 93 million.
I just wanted to make sure you clarified that.
Dude, that is clearly what he's doing. That's clearly he's trying to hype. It's all
You might as well say
hype.
93 trillion.
Might as well.
93 quadrillion people.
And now when you say that,
quadrillion,
you have lost all credibility. We know what your agenda is, and you've stated it already.
There's an infinite amount of people that die every minute.
And I'm not laughing because, this is a very serious issue, but I can't help. Folks, you got to laugh this stuff off. Otherwise, you'll bottle up inside and you'll get angry and you get frustrated. And let me tell you, there was a guy that we knew, my wife and I knew back in L.A., and he was retired from Cuba. Loved Cuba. And I don't know why he came to America, but loved Cuba. And he was outspoken communist, so we called him Cubacom.
Okay.
Cubacom. He would see me pull up in my truck and I would get out. You listen to that Rush, aren't you? You love that hate monger, that evil Rush. I'm like, dude, calm down. He's my friend. No, you're sick. You're evil. I'm like, whoa. And so once he would get off that and I'd go away. But if you called him on an off day, he was just a regular guy. But if you brought up anything about Republicans, politics, the venom would come out of him. I've never seen anybody so vicious about politics, especially towards Republicans and conservatives. He hated us all with a passion. It reminds me much of this guy. Folks, don't let this. I know the fake news caused this. I know the Democrats caused this. I know Obama, with his racism for 8 years solid straight, caused this. I know all the hate and the anger that is seething from the Democrat Party, from the leaders that want to be part of the Democrat Party, all of them, the ones who got fired, the ones who are still lingering around like the slithering Clinton, deep state,
yeah.
All of them. There's hate, anger. Look at what's going on SNL. Look at what's going on in Hollywood. Look at the Catholic thing with the bloody Trump head. The hate and the standing ovation at the Broadway play.
Oh, where they're stabbing Trump. It's Julius Caesar, Playhouse in the Park or something.
Right. And he's dressed identical to Trump.
He has a wig on
from
that
the
looks
hair.
Exactly like his hair.
Stabbing. He's laying on the ground. They're standing over him.
They take his jacket off, and where he has a white button-up shirt with his tie on. So when they're stabbing him, they cover him in the food coloring. So he's got these big red marks from where he's getting stabbed all over.
How many people have we seen on Twitter and social media? Death to Trump, and they're not banned. They're not getting rid of.
They're allowing it. They're allowing the assassination, the calls for assassination. They're allowing the cops are allowing Antifa to perform violent acts on freedom of speech rally people. They're allowing that. And then if you try to step up and do something about it, they treat you as if, hey, that's your little brother. It's your little brother. You let him do that to you. You don't do that back to him. That's mean. That's how they treat. The cops are literally, not all cops, obviously. I'm talking the San Bernardino or the San where they at? Where they do the all the fighting? This Berkeley. Berkeley.
I know, of course.
Like San Bernardino. No, Berkeley, where those cops, and San Jose, where they've been ordered to stand down and let Antifa to perform all kinds of violent acts. I think they were letting Antifa do violent acts in D.C. also. But God forbid if we either retaliate or stop them or do anything like that, then next thing you know, we're going to be in prison.
Okay, don't believe it. Like we were saying, the hoax are coming out, the fake news, the lies, the anger, the hate. They've got to come out with it. I heard the congressman on the show with Sean Hannity, 27-year relationship with Sean Hannity. I trust Sean Hannity. I've got to trust that if this is a close friend of his who actually guest hosted his radio show back in the day, I have to believe this went down the way he said it went down. And now all of a sudden, GOP Republican baseball shooting in Virginia, totally hoax busted.
Who said that?
Some jackball on YouTube. But I'm just saying it's out there. Don't let this...
No, I'm sure, yeah, absolutely happen. I'm just wondering what the hell the motives of this guy was.
I won't even click on it. I don't even need to know. Oh, no, for the hoax thing?
No,
you're talking about the shooter. The motive for the shooter.
Yeah, I mean, it happened. It happened. But how in the world do you show up with I cannot, and we've seen...
So what about Rush's show today? You said you listened to most of his show today.
Right.
Rush talked about what I'm espousing right now, all the hate and the anger and the seething loathingness for the GOP. In this guy feeds on that, loving on Richard Maddow, totally buying into all the fake news, buying into... I mean, the local newspaper in Cincinnati had big title, Trump lied. And then the article went on. No, Trump didn't lie. There is no collusion. There is no evil. There is no hate on the Republican part. anything having to do with the Republicans right now. And the Trump cabinet meeting that he just had, no, that was unscripted. Yes, they really love Trump. Yes, they really want to make America great again. And yes, they are excited and happy. It wasn't fake. The Democrats, the left, the liberals, everything on mainstream media and the hate-filled CNN, MSNBC, all they do all day long is project what's going on in the DNC and the liberals and that the hate mind and they project that on the Republicans. And it's got to be fake because we could never pull that off. As a matter of fact, Democrats put together an SNL skit making fun of Trump in his cabinet meeting.
Right. No,
So
that was Schumer.
Schumer. So
Schumer did that.
He's got time to do that.
Right.
To make fun of Trump in the cabinet. What are we doing here, folks?
Yeah. And by the way, I watched that cabinet meeting. It was actually a long video. And it had a fake news title. Totally fake. Trump asked his cabinet to go around and praise him. To one at a time, ask them to praise him. And of course, they want to make it sound like he's running his executive branch, his cabinet, like Kim Jong-il or Kim Jong-un.
Right.
Where you have to go around and tell everybody. And if you read the article, it makes it sound like everybody was trying to one-up each other and try to praise him even more than the previous person praised him. But I watched the whole thing and I was like, this looks like everybody's bragging about the Trump administration. This is the Trump presidency, and they don't have to worry about getting... I know what it is. They think that everything's going so poorly that when they go up and say something positive about something that's going on with their branch of the government, that they must be lying because it's not going well. But you and I both know that this Trump administration is the greatest thing since Reagan. And I think when all is said and done, Reagan won't even be able to hold
I'm gonna tell you right
the jockstrap.
I'm going to tell you right now. It's emotional. It is absolutely emotional to see what Trump is doing. I'm putting together and I'm going to compile the list because I'm tired of idiots that I see in everyday life that tell me he's not doing anything. He is leaps and bounds. Absolutely, from the smallest little bits and pieces to the big giant things. And you know what? Fake news was screaming, and I got it from people that I see on a daily basis. Yeah, the healthcare, that's not going to make it. No. It is still on track to repeal Obamacare. It's still on track. Keystone Pipeline, through. Executive orders, through. Shutting down Obama's executive orders, through. The biggest thing that Carrie and I have railed against the entire time all 4 years of doing this show, what is the number one thing we railed against? And I'm going to tell you, it was for every regulation or every rule, this just so happens to be regulations, the same thing, regulation, rule. For every rule that they submit, they got to remove two.
Oh, that was like early on in the show. You got to realize it was during the Obama administration. Nobody even thought about Trump. There was no light at the end of the tunnel, trust me. But I used to watch John Stossel on Fox Business, and he's a big-time libertarian who wants very, very, very limited government. He thinks that all these regulations are terrible. And we used to talk about how, why don't we have a department whose job it is to remove these laws and regulations, some of which are so antiquated they don't even apply to us anymore. Like a horse has to be tied up to the post when you come up to the general store. Like what?
Right.
These don't even apply anymore. Can we not just chop these out?
So Donald Trump listens to Smith Radio and said, you know what? For every one new rule or regulation, you got to remove one.
Yes.
That's incredible. Not only that, but here's the thing on regulations, folks. Obama was going absolute ape with executive orders and allowing regulation.
Obama an ape?
I almost said the SHIT word, too.
Yeah, but you can't say ape.
Oh.
And in reference.
Well, it's our show, and I'm not going to fire myself.
Okay, because I was going to say our sponsors are ringing off the hook right now. Just saying.
So he went nuts with the regulations and allowing these The EPA and putting these people in power and allowing them to just go hog wild with regulations, stifling economy, stifling jobs, stifling our businesses. You can't get anything done. One businessman went to Trump and said, look, it's taken me 10 years to get this done. Trump's like, that's just ridiculous. And used that as an example and said, we need to be able to get this done immediately. These regulations are killing us. So fast forward right now. Trump's regulations are 8% of what Obama's were. So if Obama was 100% regulation, Trump has cut it back to 8%, which is a monetary difference of like $29 billion saved. Because of the lack of the regulations are being removed.
But it's going to compound. It's going to be exponential because the savings will keep expanding as you keep going.
Coal opened up in Pennsylvania.
Oh, Pennsylvania.
PA.
Probably West Virginia.
Coal opened up.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what's funny? I know everybody listening to this understands, but I just like to jab the communists whenever I can. They criticize the opening up of coal mines in America. They criticize it because they're like, it doesn't really create that many jobs, and who wants a job doing that anyway? They think that the energy sector is about making jobs, when they don't realize that the entire country, all of the economy, the entire thing is we're able to do what we do with energy.
Here,
home. So when we can extract the energy out of the ground, especially do it on our own soil, we're creating the energy that's going to spark all industry everywhere. I mean, do you think these giant power cables that go into the factories across the country, where do you think that electricity comes from?
It's the sun, according to the Smithsonian Institute, or the
Smithsonian.
Yeah, the Smithsonian, where Carrie and I were at the museum.
Oh yeah,
we were informed by the Smithsonian that, was it 40 or 60?
It was
40% of all our energy in America comes from the sun. However, I can prove them wrong. It's 100%.
Right, because coal actually comes from plants, and the plants grew because the sun was shining on the leaves and causing photosynthesis.
If there was no sun, we'd have no
energy.
Not
really.
Zero.
No. I mean, there might be some leftover heat from the core and the mantle.
From the nuclear explosion.
We could use that heat for energy, but no, you're right.
So Smithsonian, once again, wrong. Trying to propagate.
Anyway, so we're back to let's get back to the shooting. So, do you know about Senator Flake? He is a Republican, but he's a never Trumper. He was against the Trump administration, the Trump campaign, and today he said, I sure hope this could lead to more unity. We need it around here, Senator Flake says, of people taking action during the shooting. And so I replied, someone please tell the Democrats to tell their propaganda arm, which is the mainstream media, to back off of the fake news hate against Trump supporters. So it's not about unity. It's not about the Democrats and Republicans coming together and being at peace with each other and hugging it out and liking each other. No, we're at war, okay? And basically what we had today was the first shots fired, okay? We are at war. And what really caused this first shot was fake stream media, fake news, propagandizing the entire country to where you get some guy that's a little bit off his rocker, maybe takes it a little bit too seriously, and you end up with a guy deciding that he's going to make the world better by killing Republicans because he's led to believe that.
Senator Jeff Flake takes a phone call from Obama after shooting. Obama calls, and I click on it. It's CBS News. Former President Obama called Senator Jeff Flake after shooting at the Republicans' practice. For tomorrow, at Thursday's congressional baseball game. The game's tomorrow.
Oh, okay. They want to get one last practice in.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. I hate to click on it and then we get sound bites. And
Sam Keel said, laughable that Flake, the Trump hater, has a change of heart when bullets fly past his head.
Yeah, well, Anthony Robbins does describe in his book, Unleash the Giant Within.
Awaken the Giant.
Awaken the Giant Within. That people only really, really change when faced with death.
Death?
Yeah.
I thought it was extreme pain. When the pain of not changing exceeds the pain of staying the same.
Right. Usually that happens when you're close to death. when you see, man, people have complete change of life.
I got diagnosed with lung cancer. I guess it's time to quit smoking. Something like that, which obviously is too late.
And DJT on the message. If you want to be a part of Smith Radio, you can also join us on the message board when we are live Sunday from 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Just go to smithradio.info and then click on the live link, and that'll bring up the entire message board. And we have DJT on the message board that says, "How dare you inject science into the climate change argument?"
How do we? What? We're not even talking about climate change.
We were talking.
Oh, you're talking about the energy thing.
Yeah, the energy.
Yeah, the coal. Yeah.
Coal energy.
Well, I know you got to be careful when you bring up science. Then, do you have any tweets? People's reactions.
Oh, I have the soundbite of that.
Yeah,
This is John Brown.
Bown.
John Bown.
It's like Brown without the R.
I look at it and I see the R, but it's not there.
I know, so do I. It looks just like Brown.
And he reports for InfoWars, and he did a great job. He did a really quick clip, and he did a great job of talking about this. And here's his take on what's going on in the info media wars and Twitter.
A standing ovation for the simulation of the assassination of the President of the United States. And now a baseball practice loaded with Republican congressmen and staffers became a live mass shooting event. James T. Hodgkinson was identified as the shooter that railed off over 50 shots at the 100-year-old traditional practice baseball event that included children. He was killed by Capitol Police.
Congressman Steve Scalise, a member of House leadership, was shot and badly wounded and is now in stable condition at the hospital.
That was from earlier this morning. He is in critical condition. Please pray for him.
Yeah, I don't know who updated it, but yeah, critical last time I heard.
Along with two very courageous Capitol Police officers.
And all of this occurring ominously on President Donald Trump's 71st birthday.
Oh, today's his birthday.
I can tell you that I think with absolute certainty nobody would have survived without the Capitol Hill Police. They saved everybody's life, incredibly brave, and deserve everyone's praise because with this guy, who knows how heavily armed he was, but nobody else had a weapon, so he was just killing everyone.
And didn't exactly know where the shots were coming from, but it was loud, it was constant. So I actually ran and jumped in the dugout. That's when I got scuffed up. That's when I got scuffed up. And when I got in the dugout, we realized the shooter was still active. There was a child in the dugout because children come out and watch us play.
But the House Majority Whip, Scalise, was shot in the hip and transported to the hospital along with 4 others. Before details of Hodgkinson's identity were even available, Virginia Governor McAuliffe clumsily called for gun control.
There are too many guns on the street. We lose 93 million Americans a day to gun violence. I mean, I've long talked about this. Background check, shutting down gun show loopholes. That's not for today's discussion, but it's not just about politicians. We worry about this every day for all of our citizens. So we've got to look at this, but I'm not going to get anywhere near the investigation. The FBI is leading this. But this, obviously, with 93 million people a day, it's just something.
Sir, just checking, 93 million is a big number. Did you mean to say 93 million? That's a big number. Are you sure about
93 million, 93 individuals a day.
The Belleville News Democrats reports Hodgkinson is a member of a number of anti-Republican groups on Facebook, including one called Terminate the Republican Party. Hodgkinson took a Democratic ballot in the primary election in 2016. Hodgkinson's Facebook page clearly shows that he was a Bernie Sanders supporter. The story was less than an hour old before the left's violent rhetoric was unleashed. Tariq Nasheed said, "So Representative Steve Scalise, who once spoke at a white supremacist event sponsored by David Duke, Google it, was shot today in Alexandria." Twitter user Malcolm Harris said, "If the shooter has a serious health condition, then is taking pot shots at the GOP House leadership considered self-defense?" Sonia Gupta tweeted, "Before you start dropping to your knees to pray for Steve Scalise, remember that he's a racist piece of shit and a hateful bigot." Technology writer Walt is Frozen said the attack will have a silver lining if the shooter was indeed targeting Republicans specifically. Twitter user Joe Quint said, "Steve Scalise was shot in the hip in Alexandria, Virginia. It's as if karma literally bit him in the ass." How far will this go? The left is collectively and publicly embracing homicide as a political solution.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're at civil war. Let me go back to the one from Sonia Gupta. Before you start dropping to your knees to pray for Steve Scalise, remember that he's a racist piece of blank and hateful bigot. Somebody responded saying, "That's not your controversial take, though, is it?" And she replied to that, "LOL, no. I'm not stupid enough to share that opinion publicly, but you probably know me well enough to figure it out, Mark." She is at full-blown helmet on the head, flak jacket donned, gas mask on getting ready to pull out, arm to teeth. I'm talking Bowie knife in the teeth. Literally, she is at war with us. And even though she's too much of a coward to act in the way that James Hodgkinson did, she's ready, and she's definitely going to offer support. She's going to offer moral support, probably financial support. She is an enemy combatant against the United States of America, and that's that. I mean, and look, she's not going to be removed from Facebook, so we know that Jack Dorsey of Twitter is a leader in the war, the civil war against America, against the United States Constitution. When I say civil war, I guess that means they are citizens of the United States, but they're truly against the Constitution. They're against free market capitalism. They are for removing it and replacing it with a socialist government, a communist government. Think FDR's new Bill of Rights. So Sonia Gupta is an enemy combatant against the Constitution, against American way of life, against free market capitalism. And if you believe in all that stuff, she obviously wants to kill you. She wants to kill you, and she especially wants to kill the leaders who we duly elect as leaders of our different areas, our different geographical areas. It could be our precincts or whatnot, or our state, if we're a state. It could be governor or senator, or in this case, congressman. So she said that you shouldn't be dropping your knees to pray for Steve Scalise because he's a racist piece of blank and a hateful bigot. Somebody brought up something the other day. I wish I had the tweet handy, and that is that the left is against us. They don't agree with our beliefs, our policies, and our principles.
Incompatible. They're completely incompatible with us.
But here's what I responded. That it's not that they don't agree with us. They don't agree with the straw man of their own creation. They created a false straw man that they hate, that they want to kill, they want to stab, they want, just like the Playhouse in the Park. Do you think Trump is the person that they think he is? You think that the person they're stabbing up, the Julius Caesar and all that kind of stuff, that's not Trump. That's not him at all. That's what they want him to be. They think he is. They lie to themselves about that he is. And that's why they want to kill him. They want to kill him because They think he is what he's not. It's this evil. They think he's literally Hitler. Literally Hitler. You got more of the soundbite?
No, that's the end of the show.
Oh. Wow.
It has been an hour.
All right.
Folks, follow us everywhere. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, Smith Radio, SMYTH. Whoop. What's that all about, Mr.? There we go, Mr. Producer.
Wow.
SMYTH Radio. Pray for Steve Scalise. Pray for America. Pray for our souls. Pray for peace. Pray for Trump. God bless it. If anything ever happened to the man at the helm of this thing, I'm just saying right now, we gave him the House, we gave him the Senate, they got the presidency, and they still won't do it.
They want war.
See you Sunday.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.
Wow. Yeah.